Today we're going to make a gift box house. This video is sponsored by Cricut. To make our gift box houses, we're going to need some chipboard boxes that are shaped like houses. This is a nested set that comes with 3 houses in the set, so a small, medium, and large. The cut file on the Cricut website is enough material to do all 3 houses. So you also need some type of adhesive material. So you could use vinyl. I'm using an adhesive foil in gold. I'm also going to use some iron-on, and I'm going to use a red metallic iron-on. And then you'll need a variety of paper. So I'm going to use some foil poster board, some shimmer paper in a couple different colors. And then you'll need some heavy chipboard, some felt, white paint, decoupage, some glue of some sort, and some glitter. So this is like a white glitter. We're also going to use our Easy Press 2 to adhere this iron-on material, so you'll need that as well. And of course your Cricut machine. So let's get started by painting these houses, and then we'll cut our materials. I'm also going to be adding some optional embellishments to my houses. So some mini wreaths, some mini trees, and some snow paint that adds like a textural effect. These are optional, but make your house really, really cute. So now we're just going to paint both the base and the lid of our little houses. And we're just going to paint them white. Now, the paper mache will absorb a bunch of paint. This paint does not have to be perfect. We're going to cover this up with glitter and some other embellishments. And we just want any area that may show through to be covered with white paint. Otherwise we'll be fine. So a light coat and 1 coat is fine. And then just allow that to dry before continuing. Then once your little houses are dry, we're going to add decoupage and then our glitter. Brush on the decoupage medium onto the sides of the house. So we're going to do the sides of the house and the sides of the roof. You won't need to do the top of the roof, and you also will not need to do this ledge if you're using the snow. If you're not using the snow, you'll need to do the ledge as well with the glitter. Then just sprinkle on your glitter and tap away the excess. And then we'll clean this up and we'll add it back to our jar and use it on our next house. Now I've glittered both the top and the bottom to my house box. And I just want to finish off this edge with a little bit of snow. So this is a snow paint and it's really thick. So applying with a knife, plastic knife, something like that, or one of these pallet knives is what I recommend. And just a thin coat all the way around the base. We'll finish that off and make it look like it's snowed on your house. Then you can set this entire thing aside to dry completely. Now if you're worried about the glitter shedding, what I would recommend is to let this dry completely, then add a second coat of decoupage all over the glittered surface, and then allow that to dry completely. And then the glitter shouldn't shed as badly as it would otherwise. One of the first pieces I cut with my Cricut are these doors. The doors will go over the openings of your gift box. Now I cut these from chipboard so they'll be nice and sturdy and be able to hold the gift in. But I want to embellish them a little bit and not add them just plain to the house. So I'm actually going to decoupage on some red glitter in this case. So I'm just going to cover each of these doors with a good coating of decoupage and then sprinkle them with red glitter. I'm also doing the sides of the doors just to give it a finished look. Then once they're done, I'll just set them aside to dry completely. While we have the red glitter out, we're also going to do something about the chimneys of each of the houses. So right now they are just white, and I want to add just a little accent to make them stand out. So I am going to glitter them in red. And don't worry too much about the roof itself if it gets some glitter on it, because we're going to cover that up. Our other chipboard piece are these tags. So we're going to make gift tags out of these. We're actually going to use iron-on top of this chipboard. So this is the heavy chipboard from Cricut. So for both the doors and the tags, you will need the maker to cut it. And then I just cut the Merry Christmas from a metallic iron-on, and I'm going to iron those onto the tags. So I'm going to use my Easy Press 2, and I'm going to use the small version. And then I also recommend covering up your tag with something like this liner or some parchment paper. So this is the Cricut protective sheet, iron-on protective sheet, but you can use parchment paper as well. And that'll help protect any of the surface that is not covered by the iron-on protective sheet, which is important. And then we're just going to press at the recommended time and temperature. And I'm actually using the recommended time and temperature for wood. There's actually not one for chipboard. So we're going to press these. Now, a few tips and tricks when cutting with the maker. So the heavy chipboard, you're going to need to use your knife blade. You're going to need to put the heavy chipboard down on a strong grip mat, and then use tape around the edges to hold it into place even more strongly. That way it won't move when you cut it. And then you can cut both the doors and the tags from the same piece of chipboard. So you're going to want to do a cold peel on these. So let them cool down completely, and then just peel back that protective liner. And now your iron-on is on the chipboard, and your gift tag for each of your houses is ready to go. The next thing we're going to make is a felt bow for each house. These felt pieces were cut on the maker with the rotary blade. So it's the Cricut felt cut with the rotary blade. Now, when you go to cut felt with your maker, it will ask you to use the fine point blade, and I always change that to the rotary blade because I believe I get a better cut. So this first piece, we're just going to fold it in on each other, and then we're going to use a dollop of hot glue to hold the ends. Then we'll just want to use this piece to wrap around the center. Pretty that joint up some, and we'll hold that into place with hot glue as well. Then we'll use hot glue to put it into the center of this piece. And there you have a cute felt bow for the top of your gift box house. Now we're going to prep all the windows for our houses. So we're going to cover up the openings that are in the original chipboard boxes. And so I've got a variety of square windows and circular windows, and then each of those go on top of a gold square so it'll fit exactly. And then inside those windows we're actually going to add some gold metallic candles. So I just did this out of adhesive foil and cut the candles on the Cricut and then weeded them already. And then all of my pieces were cut with the Cricut, and each window will also have 2 shutters. And on the shutters I actually used the scoring wheel to make little lines on them so they look more like shutters. So you could also use the scoring stylus for this. I used the foil poster board for the windows themselves and the shimmer paper for the inside, but like any paper you like will work fine. So we're going to prep a few windows just to get an idea of how they go together. So the first thing you'll need to do is find which window fits with which gold piece, and then you're going to need to apply some type of adhesive to the back of the window. So I'm actually going to use just the tape runner and a little tape. Alright, so then after you have your adhesive on your window, then we're just going to line that up, put it on top of our gold square, and press down well. And then we'll take our adhesive foil candle, and we're going to put one on each side of the window. So each window will get 2 candles. The circular windows, however, do not get any candles. You can even use something like an X-Acto knife to help you get everything into place. And then just press it down. So that's the square windows. Then the circular windows won't have a candle, so they'll just be a red piece on top of a gold piece. And again, I'll probably just use the tape runner. Any adhesive would work. And then just place those together. And then just prep all of your windows. When you're finished for your small house, you'll have 2 small windows. And then there's a small window for the door, and it does not get any candles. There are 3 smaller windows that are for the small house. They have candles. And then there are some short, wide shutters that are for the smallest house, and there's 6 of those. The medium house, 2 round windows, 1 window for the door with no candles, shutters that are longer but skinnier, and then the windows are the same for the medium and the large house, so you'll have a big stack of those. Large house gets 2 round windows, a window for the door with no candles, and the long, wide shutters. So I've organized everything, and now we're going to start putting the window elements on the actual house itself. And I'm actually going to use hot glue. So in the middle of each of the window openings, you can put a large dollop of glue. And then pick a window. Just make sure it covers all the openings. And then we can add a shutter down both sides. So you just want a line of glue down both sides. And 1 shutter on each side. Then you just repeat for each of the windows on the bottom of the small house. Then we'll just want to add the door to the front. So the first thing we'll do is add a window to the door, just with some hot glue. And then we'll do hot glue around the door opening. And add the chipboard door into place. So now to finish off the roof of our house, first we'll add the small windows to the eaves on the front. So we're just going to add those with hot glue. Then I cut a bunch of scallops out of both red and like a creamy, shiny paper. And I'm going to add those alternately on the roof. So to make sort of something that looks like shingles. Now I cut these all to the same length, and I'll just trim them to size with scissors, determine, to the size, actual size of the roof. And then I can use these scrap end pieces for things like the eaves and stuff on this side. And then I'll just secure each of the rows with a line of hot glue. I ended up doing 2 of the cream color for every 1 red and alternating that design all the way up. And then I'm going to repeat the same design on the front. If you would like, you can finish off your house with an assortment of Bottlebrush trees or even some Bottlebrush wreaths. So in the case of the small house, I really don't have a place to put the wreath, but the larger houses actually have a area above the door, and so I'm going to add the wreaths to those there. And then on all of them, I'm going to add some of the small trees like on the corners or maybe beside the door, that type of thing, just to finish off the look. So we're going to try to repeat the same pattern on the front as we did on the back. So I'll start with red at the very bottom and continue up with the same pattern. So once you have your roof complete, you might have a few lines where like the paper doesn't meet or it just doesn't look good. you can actually use some of that snow paint that we put around the base. Just kind of add some snow to the eaves, and it'll cover up any of those maybe slight imperfections you had when adding your paper to the roof. Then to finish this one off as a gift, we're going to add a bow to the top. So I'm going to put it on top of the chimney. I'm just going to use a double-sided adhesive to do that. And then I'm going to tie on a gift tag. I'm just going to tie it right around the chimney. And our gift, then we can just put a gift inside and it's ready for gifting. I hope you have enjoyed these house gift boxes. Be sure to give us a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe for more Cricut crafty fun. Make these Christmas gift box houses today just because you love giving gifts with your Cricut, and this is like a 2-for-1 gift. The box is a gift and the gift inside.